What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Uprise podcast. Today, the Blazers come back home after a 6-game road trip. Tonight, they play the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll get into that a little bit later, but the majority of this podcast is going to be about the changes the NBA wants to make to their in-season structure, the in-season tournament, playing game for the playoffs. I forget everything they wanted to do, but they want to make a bunch of sweeping changes, so we'll talk about that. Hopefully I'm live. There's my stream behind on mine. Yes, it is. Alrighty. So we're gonna start off with our Actually, I'm gonna wait for more people to get in here. Then we'll do our over under because we are starting this podcast a bit late, and want to get that going. I know there's games already live, but we haven't seen the scores, so we're gonna bet off that. That's the mulligan that chat has. Sorry, I know I'm lagging. I just gotta pull up the right screen here. There we go. Yeah. So how you doing today, man? We just got done watching the Kansas-Dayton game. We're watching some college basketball. I know you're a fan of Obi Toppin. I was trying to watch him play a little bit, but didn't really get a good look at him. But it was entertaining basketball. College basketball has been entertaining.
Yeah, some of those early season tournaments are fun because you get some cool matchups, good teams, good players and stuff, and then you can just watch basketball during the day, which is always fun as well.
For sure. I gotta plug my headphones in because I completely forgot that, so I apologize if you echoed, but here we go. Scrambling with my setup here. Alright. Alrighty, so I'm just waiting for chat. To fill up so we can have some participants for our over-under. I am working on some graphics for that. I'll show you that after this, Eric. I'm working on some cool graphics for that segment that you guys will enjoy.
Nice.
But I think maybe my chat's frozen.
I'll type something to see.
No, it was frozen. I'm good now. Had to pull it up on my phone. Yeah, so once we get 20 people in here, we'll start over under. How it works for those of you who aren't familiar is we have NBA games that are going on tonight, and we have a spread that we have to pick against. It's me and Eric, and we also include chat in that, and whoever the majority and whatever team the majority vote is in chat. That's who chat ends up rolling with, and we keep track of our record all season long. So how did I do on last Friday? Because we didn't have a Monday podcast, so the last time we did this was 5 days ago on Friday. How did we do, Eric?
You were 5-5. I was 4-6, and chat was actually 7-3. Good job, chat. That was the first time they beat us, I think.
Yeah, that was like my first around 500 day. I've either been feast or famine, so...
So overall, you're at 31-32, still a game under 500. I'm at 34-29, and chat's at 22-27.
Okay, we'll have to do a day in the future where only chat votes just to catch them up to our same. I want to get them with the same record as us because when we started doing this, it was just me and Eric, and then we started including chat, which we should have done from the get-go. But we will even up those records at some point, just because it will be a little easier to compare.
We're gonna do winning percentage.
Winning percentage, we could do that too. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. We have a lot of games today.
Yeah,
I've noticed. I think there's 14 games today, bro. So let's start this off because this is gonna be a long segment. I'm gonna try and keep this segment fast. Let's try and keep this segment under 7 minutes. Let's try and be done with this segment by 5 o'clock, and then we'll roll into the NBA changes, and then we'll finish the podcast off previewing the game tonight. That's the plan here. So what's the first game? What do we got?
And then just for the record, we haven't looked at any scores yet, so try not to look at scores while we're doing this too.
For sure.
So the first one is Sacramento at Philly, and Philadelphia is 9.5-point favorites at home.
I'm taking Sacramento with that one. 9.5 points is a lot. Sacramento has been playing better. They're 6-7 after starting 1-5. I'm rolling with Sacramento for that.
I'm also going Sacramento. Just 9.5 is a lot of points. Philadelphia hasn't been playing great, even though they've been pulling out wins.
And chat, if we'll pick the first 5 voters. If there's only 3 voters, then we'll pick out of 3, the first 3. So we got 1 Philly, 1 Sac, Leave your comment in the chat. We got 2 Philly. All right, we're on to the next game. I'll chat votes for that one.
All right, Dame Dollar, just stop, man.
Hey, yeah, bro. That was a last stream thing. I saw your comment, bro. Like, don't drag this into multiple things, or I'm actually gonna have to keep hiding you. Which Dame Dollar, your comment wasn't included in the mailbag because I accidentally hid you from the entire channel, so it deleted all your comments. I wouldn't play with fire. Yeah, that's why your comment wasn't included in the mailbag. Because it deleted the comment that I used in the mailbag. So,
all right. So 3 out of 5 went Philly in the chat. So next game is Detroit is 3.5-point favorites in Charlotte.
Alrighty. I'm taking Detroit. They've been looking a little bit better. Charlotte's been falling off a bit. Bruce Davis, hi Torier, go Blazers tonight. Yeah, hopefully we get that win. Would be a good win to get. Who you taking, Eric, for Charlotte and Detroit?
I'm going to take Detroit as well. Like you said, they've been playing well. Charlotte struggled the last couple games, I think.
Okay, actually gonna play this guy. We got 2 for Charlotte. We got 2 for Charlotte, and we got 2 for Detroit.
3 for Charlotte now.
3 for Charlotte. All right, there you go. They're going with the underdog Charlotte Hornets.
All right, next game we got Utah at Indiana, and Indiana is 2.5-point favorites. I'm going to go with Utah. Anytime you have a good team getting points, I like that.
Sorry, say the spread again. I completely spaced out.
Utah's at Indiana, and Indiana is 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I'm taking Utah as well, man. That's a low spread. Utah's the better team. Indiana's been kind of banged up. They got Brogdon back, I think, now, but I'm taking Utah as well.
All right. So we have for chat. Orlando is 1-point favorites in Cleveland.
Okay. I'm going to take Orlando on that one. Cleveland sucks, even though we lost to them. God, dude. Can't believe we lost that game, but taking Orlando.
I'm going to take Cleveland because Vucevic is out for a while. I think Cleveland gets it done at home.
They do got Bamba. They do got Kem Birch. I like their coverage. Bamba has been struggling, but I like their coverage at that position. So.
All right, so it looks like Utah. They're going with Utah for game before. And we got 2 for Orlando so far. So if we get one more vote for Orlando, that would be the pick.
All right, let's roll on to the next game. Let's keep this rolling. There we go, Magic. I'll try and help you with this. We'll keep this going. We got 3 minutes left.
Brooklyn is in Boston, and Boston is 8-point favorites.
I'm taking Boston.
I'm also going to take Boston. They've been playing pretty well. Knicks are at the Raptors, and the Raptors are 10-point favorites.
I'm going to take the Knicks. 10 points is a lot. Toronto's banged up. Knicks have been kind of competitive, even though they've been losing, so I'm taking Knicks.
All right. So, yeah, it looks like Boston for the last Boston one. Now, I'm also going to take the Knicks. I was thinking that Toronto is coming off that game where they completely shut down Embiid and beat the 76ers, so they're going to have a little bit of a letdown tonight.
Yeah.
Possibly.
We got 3 Raptors.
All right. So Toronto it is. All right, next game is Atlanta is in Milwaukee, and Milwaukee is 14.5-point favorites.
The last time Milwaukee had a big spread against Atlanta, I took Milwaukee to cover that spread, and they didn't do it. So I'm going to take Atlanta.
We're agreeing a lot tonight. I'm also taking Atlanta.
I think that's every pick we've agreed on.
We're different on the Orlando and Cleveland game.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, all the rest are the same. Yeah, 14.5 is just a lot to be given up. All right, so we got the first three were Bucks. All right. So we'll go Milwaukee for chats. All right, next game, the Clippers, after beating Dallas yesterday, are in Memphis today, and they're 7.5-point favorites.
Taking Clippers. I was thinking the spread was going to be more than that.
Me as well. Okay, although that could be, I don't know if Kawhi's playing or not since they played last night.
We had three for the Bucks, but we had 1, 2, 3. We had 5 for Atlanta. I know we were saying first 5, but we got 5 for Atlanta. So let's just say Atlanta.
Okay.
Like that's not like a hard, only 5 people voting rule. That's just in case, we don't have, if we have 6 or whatever.
Looks like Clippers are the choice for the next game.
Alrighty.
Next up, we have Miami as 8-point underdogs in Houston. So Houston's favored by 8 with the visiting Miami Heat.
I'm taking Miami. Miami's been playing solid basketball. Jimmy Butler's a good defender to put on. Justice Winslow is a good defender to put on. James Harden too. I'm taking Heat.
Yeah, 8 points is a lot, so I'm also taking the Heat. All right, next game we got Minnesota is in San Antonio, and San Antonio is actually favored by 3 in this game.
Minnesota and San Antonio. San Antonio favored by 3. Who are you picking?
I am taking Minnesota. I just don't like the way San Antonio's played lately.
Yeah.
And being underdogs against San Antonio, I'm going to take the underdog.
Yeah.
Team that's playing better.
I'm going to take San Antonio. Let's. I don't know who to pick, but we wanted to have a difference in our picks just a little bit. We've been agreeing too much, so there we go.
Yeah. All right. So let's see, Miami.
Heat. Rockets. Stala posted a Heat sign. Miami.
All right. So Miami.
Yep.
Okay. And then
we had Wolves. We got Wolves. And we got 3 Spurs. We got 4 Wolves. So Wolves.
Okay. Next up, we got Washington is in Phoenix tonight, and Phoenix is 7.5-point favorites.
Washington and Phoenix. We got
I'm going to take Washington just because 7.5 points is a lot for 2 quote bad teams.
Yeah, I'm taking Washington too. Their offense has actually been really good. They haven't been as bad as we expected. Phoenix hasn't been as bad as we expected, but I think it will be a close game. Taking Washington. All right, we got 2 Suns, 1 Wizards. What's our next game?
3. All right, then we got the LA Lakers are in New Orleans tonight, and the Lakers are favored by 6.5.
Taking the Lakers. New Orleans isn't good enough to cover that 6.5-point spread. Suns don't have Baines. That's something to keep in mind. We do have 5 Suns, so I guess we're 4 Suns. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Suns. All right.
That's Anthony Davis's return to New Orleans, and much like the Kemba return to Charlotte, I think he's going to have a big game, and they're going to easily win.
Yep. We got Chat going with Lakers, too. That's a pretty easy pick there.
Okay. Chicago is in Golden State, and Chicago is 2.5-point favorites. This is a really interesting game to pick.
I'm taking Chicago. 2.5 points isn't much. Warriors don't really have much of a home court advantage at the moment, I don't think. That new arena's been kind of dead, so I'm taking the Bulls.
I'm going to take Golden State at home because the Bulls aren't that good. I don't know what Markkanen's deal is. We should probably talk about that sometime, but he's really good.
Man. Dude's jump shot just isn't falling. I don't know what it is. He's short on a lot of shots. He hasn't been good at all this season. That's definitely hurt their team because they're expecting him to take that next step, and he's actually regressed.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 3-2 in favor of the Bulls.
Yeah, I think they're probably rolling with Chicago.
All right, and then the final game of the night will be our Portland Trailblazers at home are 3-point favorites against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'm taking the Blazers to cover that 3-point spread. I think that last game was hopefully a springboard into better things.
Yeah, I hope that's not wishful thinking, but I think the Blazers are going to start playing better now, and they should easily take care of a team like OKC.
3 points at home against OKC isn't much of a spread. You know what I mean? If it was like 5 or 7, then I'd probably go the other way. But 3 points is much of a spread. I'm rolling with the Blazers.
And I know Chat's going to roll with the Blazers too.
For sure. I respect it.
All right, so that's it for the slate tonight.
Yep. So. What point on the podcast are we? 15:40. I'll have to make sure to time stamp that for the people that watching this after the fact, after it's live. I need to start doing timestamps. Can you jot that down for me? Because my stream will freeze. 15:40. That's when we're getting into the meat of the show, which is all the changes that the NBA wants to make. Now, I'm gonna pull up an article on my phone because I forget all the changes they want to make because it's like 3 or 4 different things.
That's pretty drastic, yeah.
Do you kind of know off the top of your head, or do you have notes there? Or...
one is an in-season tournament.
Okay, we can start off with that. I think that's stupid as hell. I think reducing. I think having because what their plan is they want to have an in-season tournament. I don't know how that works with 30 teams. I guess 2 teams would have a bye. The 2 favorites would have a bye. I don't, with 32 teams, there would be no byes because 32 you can divide that in half all the way down to 1. But I don't like this idea, man, because I don't like the fact that some teams would have only played 78 games at the end of the year. Some teams would have played 81 because that's their plan. They want to reduce it to 78 games minimum, but that's not like 78 games for every team because the tournament, once you get knocked out, you wouldn't play any more games in that tournament. If you won, you'd keep playing games in that tournament. And so I don't like the way that kind of sorts itself out at the end of the season. Also, what's the motivation to win that tournament? What's the motivation beyond it just being a regular season game? You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to reward teams? But if you did reward teams where it actually did matter a lot, it probably wouldn't be good for the league either because it'd be too drastic. You know what I mean? Like, there's no balance that I think they can find here to make this thing work.
Yeah, it's like I guess you could make like a playoff spot on the line for the winner or something, but
I mean, maybe playoff tiebreakers for, I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense. If they want to create mid-season spectacles, what they should do, and not a mid-season tournament because nobody's going to care about that. You know what I mean? Like the Clippers would load manage Kawhi. You know what I mean? They'd like not play him for a game in that tournament, they lose.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not going to work. I don't see any league where that would work. What I would do instead is create like maybe once every couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, create an NBA day. I don't know what you'd call it, but every team plays, and a lot of teams play in like different cool venues. Maybe it's a football stadium. Maybe it's, the Mavericks playing in Cowboy Stadium, like create like a spectacle in that way. Maybe it's, Phoenix has played outdoors before. I don't know if you'd really want to go that far, but,
right.
And do something like that, like create a day surrounded by like, and try and create a spectacle in terms of like venue. Maybe that's when you'd have like your games that are in Europe or Mexico City, or like you'd have a game maybe in Las Vegas. Maybe the Suns play the Lakers in Las Vegas at Thomas and Mack Center or at like MGM Grand or something like that. Create a spectacle that way.
Yeah, that would help. I mean, if you take a team like Atlanta or something that doesn't get great home attendance anyway, and you play them like in a game in Nashville or something, or like Vegas or something like that, like people might go if it's actually
Atlanta versus Memphis and Nashville. You know what I mean? Like those teams are in different conferences, but like that would, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. You could do creative things on that day. Every team plays. You could do creative things where, where you have like different venues and different like just like to create something unique, to create like a little bit of a spectacle in a way. That's when you'd have maybe the LA Lakers versus LA Clippers game. Those types of games. I don't know. I just think like you could be creative in different ways that wouldn't actually like affect the way teams finish. That wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because I feel like players are going to be more motivated to win a game if they're playing like if Dallas is playing like Cowboy Stadium and they got like a ton of fans there. How many, probably wouldn't fill up the whole stadium, but if it's in Cowboy Stadium, like that's going to feel like a spectacle, like a bigger game, and I feel like they're going to be motivated to win that game since they're playing in a huge venue. I feel like that's going to be more motivation than some regular season in-season tournament that doesn't like provide any award or any reward for that.
Well, I guess if you're for the tournaments, you could say that you could have the tournaments in those type of places, which might be kind of fun too.
But it still creates the same problems, you know what I mean? And still, like the tournament just feels like a sham in a way.
Yeah, like let's say the tournament was right now. Would you really want like Dame playing with back spasms or like like what would be the point?
It'd be like a regular season game. You know what I mean? I think it'd count as like a regular season game, but it's like I don't know, man. It's just a strange concept that I don't think would work. I mean, you could do so many more creative things with
well, and I know like they're trying to. It seems like they're trying to at least be kind of like soccer, where they have a lot of like in-season tournaments or different cups and things.
Soccer's super weird though, man. Like I don't think any other team could pull that off, or any other team, any other league could pull that off.
Yeah, and I do kind of like reducing the games, but we've talked about this, and so now's a good time to mention the seedings. So like they didn't talk about the 1 through 16 seedings, I don't think, in this particular proposal, but they did talk about reseeding once you got to the conference finals in each group.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. So once you get to the conference finals, reseeding based off record, I'm guessing. What is the point in that? You're talking about the four of the top teams in the league. What does it achieve? It doesn't achieve more competitive balance. It doesn't. What does it accomplish? Sorry, I'm being distracted by your like Pikachu kid. He has Eric's battling a battle. He's battling over there. I'm just watching this. You guys can't see as much of the screen as I can, because I have it cropped and stuff. Dude, I literally moved your screen, and somehow you keep moving to the left. Oh, probably because you got your kids right there. But yeah, all right, there you're centered right there. You're good to go. It just this was my main takeaway from them talking about reseeding the conference finals. They want a Clippers versus Lakers NBA Finals.
Exactly.
Which is ridiculous. If those two teams weren't doing so good right now, I don't think they'd come up with that suggestion. So making a suggestion to change up a playoff format just because of two big market teams that you want to see in the finals, I think is absolutely ridiculous. I think that would be a huge mistake by the NBA. I don't think it achieves more competitive balance. You're talking about 4 conference finalists anyway. Those teams are going to be, super competitive. And honestly, like teams in the East might have better records than teams in the West, but might not be better than them because the West is it's harder in general. You know what I mean? Like the Blazers would have played the Raptors. No, the Blazers would have played the Bucks in the finals last year.
Warriors
in the conference finals. Yeah. Yep. So the NBA Finals would have been Warriors-Raptors, which I think was the 2 best teams because those are the teams that won their conference finals. You know what I mean? Like the NBA Finals should be the 2 best teams, and I think the 2 best teams usually end up being the teams that win their conference finals. Raptors proved they were a better team than the Bucks last year by beating the Bucks in the conference finals, but they would have had to deal with the Warriors, before the NBA Finals last year if that was the case. It makes no sense. It doesn't achieve more parity, doesn't achieve more competitive balance. If anything, it messes up the competitive balance, and it's literally just for the NBA to try and get a Clippers versus Lakers NBA Finals.
Yeah, it's kind of like along the lines of what we were talking about, the 1 through 16 seeding, is that the East has an advantage in those situations, even though their records towards the middle to lower part of their conference aren't as good as some of the middle teams in the West. But they don't have to play as many teams against the West. So unless the schedule was somehow even for where every team plays the same amount of teams close to equally, instead of like the West playing some teams 4 times and only getting to play the East teams 2 times, that's just unfair, I think, and it'll lead to. I just don't get. I mean, people are going to say like, "Oh, you guys don't like change or whatever," but I don't think it's broken either.
Yeah, and don't fix what's not broken.
And I don't think this solves the issue that's causing the problem in the first place, and that's that there are so many bad franchises in the East that have taken years to like develop, and nothing has come of it. You have a team like the Knicks who are bad like all the time. Like reseeding these things will just make that situation even worse for the Knicks, and it'll never do anything to bring them. Like what you want is to have those teams become good and the East become better so that it's more competitive between the East and West, not just make the West basically the playoffs. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree on that. Moving into the next change that they were talking about making, which is a change that I'm actually up for. It's the play-in game to the playoffs. So that would be, 8th versus 9th team?
Yeah.
I'm down for that because that one game would be a great atmosphere. There's really no like one game do or die, in the NBA at all, right? People say, 16 teams make the playoffs out of 30. It's already like maybe too much. It's already a lot. And like, why raise that up to 18? But you're talking about one game basically at the end of the season for the 8th spot. It creates motivation for teams to, it creates like a little bit of separation between 7th and 8th spot, which I like. 7th spot you're playing a first round series. 8th spot you have to win to get into the first round basically. And it'd just be an entertaining game. It'd be a playoff atmosphere for 2 teams that really would honestly have no chance at winning in the first round, but it would be a competitive game. It'd be a playoff atmosphere with a chance for either one of those teams to win in a playoff atmosphere and move on and advance in a playoff atmosphere. So I like that change because I don't think it doesn't mess anything up that's already the case. There's already a long layoff between the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs. End of the regular season usually ends Wednesday, and then the start of the playoffs is Saturday, so it's already like Thursday, Friday, no NBA basketball. Or did the playoffs start Sunday? I think there's like 2 or 3 days layoff in there, and if you had a playing game in between that,
it starts Saturday usually.
Yeah, ends on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. There's a 2 or 3 day layoff in there. Yeah. If you had a playoff game or a playing game in there, that would be some basketball to hold you over, some good 2 evenly matched teams, some good basketball in a playoff atmosphere. I just think from the entertainment factor, it works. It doesn't mess anything up, and it might even discourage tanking a little bit if teams are like, okay, we could possibly get to this 9th seed and play our way in. Something I would do as well is whatever team played their way in, I think should get the 13th and 14th spots in the lottery. The winner of the playoff game should be rewarded with higher draft pick and a chance to win the lottery. That could be something interesting as well, so that teams are like, okay, maybe we can get into the playoffs and still have a lottery pick and a chance to win the lottery. I don't know. That could be interesting as well. But I like this idea. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
So I kind of agree with everything you're saying until I look at the standings from last year, right? Mm-hmm. So you have the LA Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs tied for the 7th seed. So you're going to have a tiebreaker to determine who gets the 7th seed.
I mean, you have tiebreakers anyway.
No, and then bear with me for a second. Okay, so not only do you have to have a tiebreaker to see who gets the 7th seed, which ended up being the Spurs last year, and then the 8th seed goes to the Clippers, right? And then so the Clippers would have to play a game against the Sacramento Kings, who were 9 games behind them in the standings. And to me, that would just be, I think you're rewarding a team for not, like, Sacramento totally fell off the cliff at the end of last year. And I know, like, the situations won't always be that way, but it was just like, I don't know. If the Clippers get upset, then you don't have them playing well against the Warriors. That series was kind of fun. I can understand both sides of it, but
I mean, how often is that 8th seed competitive though? You know what I mean? Hardly ever. So it's not really gonna, like, you're usually not going to miss out on entertaining first round basketball because the 8th versus 9th seed play. Most of the time those seeds are pretty even. I think Sacramento could have been an entertaining team to watch if they kind of picked it back up and started playing like they were earlier in the season, because that's like young guys who have never been there before, Deere and Fox versus Steph, you know what I mean? Like Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, like that could have been an entertaining team too. So
I wonder if you could build in some, like, you have to be within 5 games or something to make it. Because I know most seasons there wouldn't be a 9-game difference between the 8th and 9th seed. It'd be a lot closer.
I don't think you'd have to do that. And I don't think they'd want to, like, say, like, okay, we can have this playoff game, but if it's too much of a difference, we have to take it away. You know what I mean? Like, I like the idea of that playing game, man. I think that it would just be entertainment. From an entertainment standpoint, why not?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mess with the league. It's not going to change anything with, who makes the finals, who's playing in the finals, what are the records at the end of the season. It doesn't change anything like that, like the first 2 ideas propose.
Well, this wouldn't happen very often either, but I think it was Minnesota and Denver a couple years ago played the last night of the regular season, and whoever won that game was the 8th seed. So it is rare.
That was like a de facto playing game, yeah.
And that was a cool game, but then if the same 2 teams had to play again the next night, that would basically mean that game was, they'd just sit all their guys because it would have been pointless to play that game, right?
Yeah. But that was the last idea, right? That was the last idea they had.
That out of all the ideas, that's the one I would be okay with. All the other ones, I'd be kind of mad if they implement.
The worst idea is reseeding the conference finalists. That's the worst idea in my opinion. But the in-season tournament with, like, having an uneven amount of games played at the end of the season, I think that's a horrible idea as well. I don't honestly know many NBA fans that would be for that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what. It's strange. I can't figure out who they're trying to appeal to and what they're trying to accomplish with that. I hope they don't do that, because they said also the tournament would occur in late November to, like, mid-December.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Like right now.
The timing of that, you know what I mean? That's not like mid-season. This is still early season. Like, we're not even a quarter through the season yet. So yeah, so it'd be starting, like, basically right now, and it's November 27th. I don't.
No one's made any trades yet. You can't even trade 40% of the league yet.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. But
well, so every poll I've seen is, like, overwhelmingly with people in favor of the seeding through 1 to 16, and I just don't know if people are.
Oh, I hate that idea too, man.
Not thinking it out or what.
They're not.
Yeah, I mean, I get why you want to reward the 16 best teams, but like I said, it doesn't solve the problem as to why there's so many bad teams.
Yeah, in the 16th team, if it's the 9th team in the West, are they going to beat the 1 seed? You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to beat the 1 seed, so why reseed everything? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, you can have 5 Western Conference teams and 3 Eastern Conference teams in the second round. Yeah, that's possible, but it just doesn't. It literally makes conferences completely irrelevant at that point, and it literally doesn't. The best teams are still going to make the NBA Finals. You still probably end up with the Raptors, Warriors Finals last year. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't solve anything. You're fixing something that's not broken. It creates problems with the conferences because they're irrelevant.
I hate to keep bringing up, like, outliers possibly, but last year. So you had the Kings, and people were saying, mid-season, the Kings deserve to make the playoffs, but they're not going to. Well, they finished 39-43, which would have been tied for 9th, 10th, and 11th in the East. So they wouldn't have made the playoffs with that record in the East either. Yeah. So like it worked out to where the top 8 teams in both conference made it. So the seedings would have been different, like who played who. Obviously, like the 8-seeded Detroit Pistons would have been playing the Bucks still because the Bucks had the best record. But some of the other seedings would have been different.
I mean, yeah, and you're creating a lot more travel.
Yeah,
because you're talking about Western Conference teams playing Eastern Conference teams in the first round, which the games move by a little bit faster in the first round than they do the NBA Finals, and the NBA Finals has one series with East versus West that has more time off in between games. You're talking about first round, like you're traveling back and forth, so it's like what if you're Portland against Miami and say Miami has home court advantage, You're flying to Miami for Game 1. You're flying back to Portland for Game 3. You're flying to Miami for Game 5. Flying back to Portland for Game 6. Flying to Miami for Game 7. And then say you play like 2 days later, you play a team on the West Coast, a team, maybe it's Utah or something. So then you fly from Miami after Game 7 to Utah. Or even that travel is not a good idea for the playoffs. The product in the playoffs would suffer from something like that. It literally creates so many more problems than it solves because it doesn't solve a thing. It's not broken.
It was bad enough going from Denver on a Sunday to Golden State on a Tuesday last year, let alone all the way from Miami or whatever you're saying. And so I've seen several media members say how awesome it would be to have that all LA finals you were talking about, because then they could just stay and play at the Santa Marina and they wouldn't have to travel at all. But like, that's like the only example of how it would be better for people. And that shouldn't be.
They're fishing for something that would be hard to achieve no matter what the system, and they're completely breaking the system in the process. I'm not a fan of that.
And how many years would both LA teams make the finals? I mean, they're not even guaranteed to make it this year, let alone every so often. It would have never happened in the history because the LA Clippers have never even made the conference finals, let alone the NBA finals. So, like, it would have never happened in the history of the NBA that those teams would have both made it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not. I saw that, man. I saw that article, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I read that article, and I'm like, hell no. That was my takeaway from pretty much everything, except for the playoff game. Playoff game would be cool. I think, honestly, you could even make it where, I don't know, you could even have 2 playoff games for 7 versus 10 and 8 versus 9, if you wanted to. I don't know. Something like that. But then that kind of mucks it up a little too much. I think 8 versus 9 is a good idea.
I know the bracket really isn't the same, but if you reseed teams at any point, it doesn't have the same like tournament type feel, you know? Because like that would be so dumb. They would completely ruin the NCAA tournament if they reseeded teams after each round.
1,000%. You wouldn't be able to fill out brackets. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's the whole fun of it. And I don't know, like last season.
The thing is, look at it like this. If you're a 16 seed and you beat a 1 seed, your reward for beating that 1 seed is like going to be an 8 seed instead of like a 2 seed. You know what I mean? Like, because you beat the 1 seed, that's your reward. For beating the best team is you'd then end up like if the higher seed teams won everywhere else, you'd have the lowest seed in the second round because you beat the highest team in the first round. That's kind of the way brackets are set up.
And look at all that debate last year about how, if we like people wanted us to lose to Sacramento, so we got to play Utah instead of OKC. But the OKC side of the bracket, if you beat them, then you get Denver instead of Golden State in the second round. And so forth. Like, all those conversations would pretty much be meaningless.
Yeah, exactly. We made the Western Conference Finals because we got the 3 seed. We wouldn't have made the Western Conference Finals if we got the 4 seed. So it rewarded us for doing better in the regular season and getting all the way up to a 3 seed. That's how it should work. And that's how it worked last year for us. It didn't work out for Denver. The 2 versus the 3 would have been irrelevant because we would have had home court advantage if they were the 3 and we were the 2. But, I mean, like, so it's not, it doesn't apply in every single case, but most of the time you get a higher seed, you got an easier path to a championship, easier path to Western Conference Finals. Obviously, we were going to have to go through Golden State anyway, but had to go through them in the conference finals compared to the second round. So yeah, I'm not in support of those changes. Chat, are you guys in support of those changes? Let me know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Russell first round exit Westbrook says do 2-3-2 series for the longer distance series. I hate the 2-3-2 thing. And you're literally you're eliminating some travel. And that's probably what they would do is 2-3-2 if they reseeded 1 through 16. But I don't like that. I don't think that the lower seeded team should have an advantage in home games played at any point in the series. And after those 3 games, the lower seeded team has played 3 home games. The higher seeded team has played 2. That 3-game homestand is a bit of an advantage compared to only having 2, in my opinion. You know, it's easy to go on the road and be like, okay, we just got to win one of these 2. Just got to win one of these 2, compared to like at home or like going on the road and having to play 3 games in a place. I don't know. 2-2-1-1-1 is the best setup for home court advantage. Major League Baseball does 2-3-2, but their home field advantage isn't as great as like a home field advantage for the NFL or home court advantage for the NBA. So home court advantage matters so much in the NBA. I think you have to have it 2-2-1-1-1.
I think the World Series, the road team won every game.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. You'd never see that in the NBA Finals. Maybe you would, but like that's some. Yeah, I hate 2-3-2, honestly.
Yeah,
but.
And then once again, we're not like figuring out why the conferences are so imbalanced. And it's not like the Eastern I mean, yeah, a lot of this has to do with LeBron, but you know, the Heat, the Cavs, and the Raptors have won recent championships, so it's not like the East hasn't won in like 20 years or something. You know?
8 Up says the idea was for 7 to play 8, and then the loser plays winner of 9 versus 10 for the 8th spot. That would be like the play-in. That could be really interesting, I think. That could be really interesting. So the top 6 teams are guaranteed, but the 7 or 8 seed have to lose 2 games to not make the playoffs.
That's not bad, but then you worry, like, so you'd have to obviously have, if you had that game Thursday, then the next game wouldn't be till Saturday, so you're delaying the start of the.
Well, you could start other first round series, 4 versus 5, 3 versus 6. You could start those. You know what I mean? So like, if the season ends on, let's say season ends on, you just end the season on let's just say a Monday. Or let's say a Tuesday. Let's say Tuesday.
They actually would probably do it to where the season ended on Sunday, and then you could have the first one on Tuesday night, and then the second one on Thursday night.
You could also have them back to back. You could also have them back to back, which probably isn't the best idea. But like you could have them Wednesday, Friday, and then play Sunday. You know what I mean, for the teams playing the playing games. And then have like the 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5 series tip off on Saturday. So if you had them play Wednesday, Friday, you could end the season on Tuesday, have them play back to back, for that first playing game on a Wednesday, and then have them play Friday, and then have them play Sunday. So you could end it on a Tuesday and still have playoff games on a Saturday. That'd only be a 3-day layoff for the teams that are already in the first round, but then you'd have basketball anyways, you know what I mean? And it'd create like, I don't know. I actually like that. I actually like that idea better. 7 versus 8, which like 7 would have home court advantage, so that would be the advantage over the 8th seed. That's why you'd want the 7th seed instead of the 8th seed, and then loser of that playing the winner at 9 versus 10, because then you have, teams would that would dissuade tanking, because teams would feel like, okay, we could get into if we could get into the 10th spot, we'd have a chance of making the playoffs. Win 2 games, we're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Which, I don't know. It'd create just the interest of that. And a team like Portland, man, that's like maybe screwed from injuries all season long. Maybe they're more comfortable like making a big splash trade thing and like, okay, we should have a really good team at the end of the year. Once we get guys healthy, we just need to be a 10th seed and we'll have a chance to get in the playoffs. I think, we'll be better than the team 7, 8, 9. So let's make a splash trade and let's, get there, and that would create an intriguing storyline. Like the Blazers would be the favorite in those games, but it'd only be one game, so one bad game, you're out. It would create a lot of excitement. It would be very entertaining. I'm all for 7 versus 8, and then the loser playing the winner of 9 versus 10. I'm all for that.
Yeah, you mentioned this earlier, but I think they'd have to kind of fix the lottery system then, because I'd hate for you to get the 10th seed, but then not have a chance at the lottery or something, even if you lose that game.
Yeah, I think maybe you could have, keep 9 and 10 in the lottery, and to have them try and play their way in. I think it's risky enough where teams like 7th and 8th wouldn't prefer to fall to 9th and 10th to have a pick at 13 and 14 in the lottery, because the odds aren't enough. It's more likely they end up losing and not making the first round of the playoffs compared to winning the lottery from the 13th or 14th spots. And if they remain 13 and 14, that's a difference of 2 picks for that risk. It's not worth it. So I keep the 9th and 10th place teams in the lottery. So that would motivate teams to okay, let's, if we're 11th, if we're 12th, why not get all the way up to 10th? Give our fans, some entertaining postseason basketball, get ourselves a chance to make it into the first round, and we'd still have a lottery pick anyway, even if it's a couple spots lower, even if our odds are just slightly reduced. So I think it might help dissuade tanking. It would create some very entertaining basketball, would give, that game do or die would be very entertaining. You'd put some lesser teams on the center stage, where that's the thing, if you're an 8th seed and you're playing against the Lakers in the first round, or 1 seed or whatever, you're not going to get that much attention because your attention is just going to be thrown all on the Lakers. But if you're 9 versus 10, if it's a Sacramento versus Phoenix, those guys take center stage at the start to kick off the postseason, basically. And that'd be very entertaining. The young guys playing Devin Booker versus De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, that'd be entertaining basketball. I just don't see the downside of that.
Yeah, kind of cool. Says my worry about having these teams compete for the playoffs would be more fatigue and are probably a worse team anyway. Yeah, but I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, that kind of gives you an advantage being one of the top seeds, because then you get a little extra. Probably easier time. But yeah, that does have to play into, we just talked about, the series with the Clippers and the Warriors last year was really competitive and a fun series, even though it was 1 versus 8. Mm-hmm. If the Clippers had to win 2 games to get into that spot and are a little more tired or something, then are they quite as competitive in that series? And then does that make the playoff series not as good? Is that worth the trade-off for having that game? But I think that's why they want the 4 games less, to kind of reduce some of that.
It could be offset by a team that plays its way into the playoffs could have more confidence and more of a rhythm compared to a team that's been off for 4 days. You know what I mean? So that could be, I don't think it'd be any sure, the teams that play their way in might not be as rested. But that's the thing. It'd only be one team that wouldn't be as rested, because the team that wins the 7 versus 8 game would then have 2-3 days to rest after that. If you ended the season on Tuesday, had that 7 versus 8 and 9 versus 10 games on Wednesday, then whatever team won the 7 versus 8 game wouldn't play again till Saturday or Sunday. You know what I mean? So that'd be 2 to 3 days off. So that team would be rested, and then you'd talk about one playing team at the 8th seed, which usually doesn't have a chance no matter how rested they are, and they might have more of a rhythm, more confidence going into the series, even if they might not have as much rest as they normally do. So I think that is a kind of a negligible difference there.
Yeah, I always come down to I'd be fine if it happened, but you mentioned this earlier, 16 out of 30 teams make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So do we really need that much more? And then also, you have a league like the NFL, only 12 teams out of 32 make it. So it's a lot more teams, a lot more average to bad teams make the playoffs than in other leagues. So I'm fine with either way on this one. I'm not too passionate either side.
Well, Lil Bakel says, would the team that loses get the lottery pick then? I just keep it as the 9th and 10th so you get the lottery picks, since they have to win 2 games to make it into the playoffs, whereas the 7th and 8th seed would just have to win 1 game, 1 out of 2 games basically. So I just keep the 9th and 10th in the lottery like we normally would. That's how I do it.
That would suck so bad though, to get the 7th seed and then lose both games, and then you're basically stuck at like with the 18th pick or something.
Oh, I know. That would be the motivation to get up to 6, man. Like that would create a big difference between 6th and 7th. Just so you didn't have to risk that. And that's the thing though. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs if you can't win 1 out of 2 games against the 8th through 10th seeds. Especially since you'd have home court advantage in both those games because you'd be the highest seed. So,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be kind of a bit of a collapse, a bit of a choke job, in my opinion. So, I'm down for that. But we're going to move on. We're going to wrap up this podcast. We got the game tonight versus Oklahoma City. I was thinking about going, but I probably won't go. If I did go, I don't know what we do with the post-game stream because you haven't streamed before. I'd probably try and have you stream it. But,
we got to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out in the future. But we play the Oklahoma City Thunder. Important game to win to start off a bit of a... we got 2 games at home, and then we go on the road to play the Clippers. These 2 games at home, I think, important to win. Not going to look ahead to that Bulls game. Just going to look tonight. We got the Thunder, Chris Paul, Danilo Gallinari, Steven Adams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All those guys are healthy, right?
I think they're all playing yeah.
That's a talented 4-man group there. Beyond that, they don't have much, so our depth is going to have to take care of things. But it's not going to be a team that we can just walk over. We have to play a good brand of basketball. This isn't a Chicago Bulls team. I think this is going to be a harder game to win than that Bulls game was, but if we do play like how we did in that Bulls game, I think we will definitely win this game. We got to move the ball like we did. We got to play solid defense without fouling like we did. We got to control the boards like we did. Oklahoma City is probably a better rebounding team than the Bulls were. Steven Adams could be a problem on the boards. We just got to rebound, not foul, move the ball, and I think we'll be fine if we do those 3 things.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And then I really liked how, I guess you could say Melo was doing this a little bit, but he was passing a lot too. Mm-hmm. But just not get in those habits of where you're just taking turns going one-on-one. I like to see that. If you got a guy that's hot like Melo was for a stretch, then design plays to get him the ball, right?
Yeah.
Same thing we talked about when Hood's going and being efficient. But yeah, I do like this team if they're playing together like they did against the Bulls and not seemingly to get their next contract or whatever that crap was earlier in the season.
Yeah,
where you just take turns dribbling up the court.
Man, they were getting into their offense a lot faster in that Bulls game, and I do like to see that, so they're not battling the shot clock as much, and they have time to be a little bit more deliberate with the offense.
And I hope Melo doesn't try too hard. He said he wasn't going to, but he wants to stick it to OKC.
100%. Alvaro Bazan says, have you considered doing a stream and chat, answering super chats and stuff? It would be interesting to hear both of your play-by-play deconstructions. I'd need to get, cable so that I wouldn't be behind because I'm on an internet stream. So, Eric would be, 15 seconds ahead of me. If I had cable, I think we'd be about even, hopefully. Maybe he could delay his a second or 2, and then I could be then chat wouldn't be ahead of me. That's the thing, is I have YouTube TV now, had PlayStation View, so there's a delay with the internet stream. So maybe if we were able to set it up where we were live, we couldn't show the game, but we could talk about what we see live with you guys. Answer super chats about the game. Yeah, I'd love to. Hey, anything that gets you guys donating, anything that you guys want to see that you guys are willing to donate for, I'll definitely consider. So like you said, super chats, if you guys would, donate with super chats and give your thoughts on the game while, we talked about it live, that's something that I would consider doing. Maybe it'd just be me, maybe not Eric, especially if we couldn't sync things up. because things would need to be synced up for that to work. But maybe that's something that we could do.
We just had that before the stream where we were watching the Kansas Dayton game, and I was reacting to stuff, but Tori was
like he was on the free throw line. He's like, oh, and I'm like, and then he like caught himself, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna miss this free throw, huh? And missed the free throw. Like, yeah, but knew he's gonna miss the free throw after that. So yeah, that's maybe possible in the future, but like, it would need to be something where like you guys would want enough that you guys would be like willing to donate, because like, I like to relax and tweet and I don't know, like it'd be fun to do those, but also it'd just be like more work. So if you guys wanted to do that, if you guys wanted to like donate for that, that's something I'd consider. But that's my thoughts on that.
You can make the long drive out to my house, so we could just do it together.
I need to be paid a lot for that, bro. 45-minute drive there, 45-minute drive back. Driving there'd be traffic too, so you're talking about more than 45 minutes. Yeah, no, you can. Yeah, no. No. You know what, man? In the future, it'd be awesome to have like a Portland-based like studio, like that we could like live stream from, meet up at, that type of thing. Like other podcasts, we'd let them record there, that type of thing. I don't know. Maybe that's something 2 years from now. Maybe that's something we'll have, depending on how everything goes. Dame Dalla, you better stop mentioning that, or you will get banned. I'm tired of that. That was fun for a stream, but it's not gonna be something where we're gonna like literally make that a meme that we're gonna talk about in every stream. Don't even test me, bro. I didn't sleep much last night. I only got 6 hours of sleep compared to the 8 that I need to be bright and cheery. So I'm a little testy right now. You don't want to test me. As Russell first round exit Westbrook says, you don't want to test me.
Yeah, Dame's definitely trying to test you right now.
Like, chill out, bro. If you can say what you want if you donate $5 or more. If you want to donate a $5 super chat, you can, but I think he's in high school, so I don't even think he has the means to. So yeah, no. Bright and cheery. Yeah, bright and cheery. You know what I mean? Like, don't you guys have like a certain amount of sleep you guys need to get to be like positive and like happy and like take things on the chin? You know what I mean? Right? Have it. The thing is, I told him at the start of the stream too. I told him like, hey, no more of that. Yeah. And they said it again. And then I put him in timeout for it. And then he got on a different account. And then he now brought it up again. Like, chill, bro. You gotta chill. Even Eric's saying chill. If you know if Eric's telling you to chill in terms of dissing me, then
I mean, it was funny on the post-game stream, but we were all going on like 4 hours of streaming.
Yeah, that was literally hour 4 of streaming. So that just dissolves into a bunch of nonsense. Like, you're not gonna make this a comment on the mailbag and comment on the podcast type thing. Alvaro was on. In that case, I really hope we don't lose. I don't want to see a sleep-deprived and angry Tori. I'll be more energetic by that point. I just right now I'm just don't got much energy. So.
Well, it did help that people were making fun of you after a loss. I mean, after a win, then a loss.
Yeah, I ain't taking that. I ain't taking that, bro. Because, like, ain't nobody can see you. You're sitting here talking. Ain't nobody can see you. So, let's see. Let's see you then.
Oh, dude, I need you to apologize to me for saying I was balding or whatever. I sent you that picture.
He drew Sharpie on his head.
You can go look at it. It was the podcast from like 2 weeks ago. I took a screenshot from when I had hair.
The back of his head is rougher than the front of his head. I love how you didn't wear a hat today.
Yeah, I wanted it all out in the open.
Yeah, that's funny. Right when you popped on strip like he's not wearing a hat, I knew it. But yeah, no, we're going to chill on all that. Let's see our big three all go for 20 plus. Dame 10 plus assists again, and the W. That'd be dope. Hopefully that's what we get. I'm trying to have a positive post game stream tonight after a win. That's the hope. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off for now. Game starts in about an hour, so still don't know if I'm gonna go. I might get last minute tickets using SeatGeek. SeatGeek, if you use my promo code Blazers Uprise, you'll save $20 off your first purchase. So if you want to get tickets to the game tonight, last minute, you can buy them quickly on your phone. You can use that promo code and save money, and you can go see the game. That's my advertisement. That's my plug. Hashtag ad. We're done with that. Anything else? Anything else we need to add, Eric?
No. Enjoy watching the game, everyone. I'm at the
point of the podcast where my thoughts are kind of becoming like scrambled for whatever reason. So I'm just gonna hit the outro without messing up anything else. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully the Blazers get a win tonight. Peace out. As always. Wait. I said peace out first. As always. See, I messed up. God, dude. I wanted to have a flawless outro, and I messed it up. Anyway,
you can't do that,
dude. I literally it's almost like I mess up on purpose. I swear I don't, dude. My outros, I gotta get my outros good again. But yeah. Anyway, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.